Hey everybody, Xdesign 101 here, and we're going to be continuing off our tutorials with starting off with setting up one small thing with our RPG UI if you are following along using the RPG UI. Because of the naming convention we used for our single equip slot here, it doesn't follow the naming convention that Leslie used at first, so we need to go into our character sheet here. We need to drop down, go into our equip slots. On our weapon slot, we need to change it from equip slot weapon hand to our equip slot main hand. There we go. And with that done, you can just go ahead, save the scene, load back into your other scene, and now whatever item that you equip to yourself will show in your character panel. Next thing we are doing is, I already did this. I just set up the rest of my equip slots. So to do that, if we recall from the last video, just go into your items, equip slots, add the equip slots, create a couple tags to match the equip slots. Some of these equip slot tags might auto create, like the body, head, and feet, and of course weapon hand, but we made ours main hand. If none of them created, just go ahead and add your own tag to match what you your equip slot that you're creating, and then yeah, you're gonna attach them all to your character like we did last time. So all of my equip slots have been set up. So my sword one, my hair is the head. So in here, as we can see in our head nub, we have our equip slot head. So all our equip slots have been set up. So now if we ever end up making armor and other stuff like that, we can start applying that onto our character. Again, there's more work that is needed to be done with some of those areas, like the body. Now we're going to jump right into our creation of 3 attributes and adjusting those attributes when you equipped and unequipped a weapon, and having the attack derive its damage from your attack strength. And then maybe later on as well, when we work more with this, we will set up our monster's attack to hit less damage via our defense, you know what I mean? So we'll do that in another video because it's going to take this a little bit of time here. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and create 3 attributes. I have already done so. Name them attack, strength, and defense. Once you've done that, go into your classes, player, add those 3 attributes to your class. Eventually you'll want to add them to your monster, your pet. You won't need to do it in NPC unless you have your NPCs fighting for any reason. So those later on I will add those into the monster and pet. For now we're just going to do the player. Once that's done, now we can start adjusting some things here. So for one, on our player character, which we can just drag and drop in here, we're going to scroll down, find our blocks. We're going to create a random float, call it random in range, all capitals with each word, no spaces. Keep it at 0. This integer, well, this float, we're going to adjust every time we cast a skill. So it's going to be our calculation on whether or not we hit a regular hit or a critical hit. So that is pretty much what our attack does. So when you level up your attack, your damage, your critical hit chance will be higher with your attack. Now, a small thing that we also did was inside the blocks of our player, we created a custom event and we called it random in range, which it's setting the local variable random in range in the player to random in range 1 to 100, which you can grab that from the maths random float block right here. Just place that in there. It'll be set every time, and basically to get that to set itself, we do this in the skill. So on our slash here, on skill activate, we trigger the event random in range in as ply blocks skill owner as game object. So yeah, go to your common, grab your as ply blocks, then go down to your variables and grab your temp variable as game object, and then voila. Now when we attack and we affect our damage, we actually wanted to grab and do some math with our strength. So in our unskill hit, we're doing a bit of math, asking if our random in range, known by the skill owner, which is the player, if it's less than the attack level. So let's say your attack is 1. If it equals 1 or less, then it'll do the critical damage. If your, let's say, attack is 50, if it's 50 or less, you will do the critical and not your regular damage. You definitely want to be using the local variable before checking the, so like this, the order you see it in is the best way to do it. You could, I guess, do it the other way with like a more than instead of less than if you really wanted to, but this way works flawlessly, so we're going to go with that. So our change attribute consumable value of health, and then the hit object, which we did this when we created the skill. So like literally while you're editing this, just copy and paste it twice, and then in the damage you're actually going to go to our math here, and we're going to use a few blocks. We're going to start off with our times block, so float a times b, drop that in there, and then we're going to drop a plus b, and then you drop that in there, and then we go to our character and we get our attribute, we drop that in there, we copy this skill owner, paste that into there, change it to value and strength. We always got to make sure that when we're negative, when we're trying to affect a monster with damage, so negativing, that's not even a word. So when we negative anything, we got to make sure that we put a negative on that first number. And the reason why we're using the times block is because if you use a calculator, or if you know this already, if you use -4 times 2, it'll actually use it, it'll make sure that the number that comes out is also a negative number. That is why we start off timesing, then 2 plus our strength, so that it has a basic attack scheme, and then it'll add more attack to us via the level of our strength. Sorry if it doesn't make as much sense as I wanted it to, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You're pretty much -2 times 2, which would be -4 plus whatever your strength is, around there. So like we can just pop out the calendar here just to like kind of get a quick brisk of the effects here. So -4 times, where's the times 2 plus, let's say my strength goes up to 5 equals, so the damage will be -3. If we just -4 times 2, -8, and then +3 will lower our damage to -5. So yeah, like basically what's going to happen is our strength is going, when we add to this number, it'll lower this, making its number a little bit more even. You could be using it other times, but then you'd be getting a pretty large number in the end. See, like if I do -4 times 2, and then let's say we have 50 strength, so plus 50 equals 42. So maybe this math might not be fully correct either. Let me see here. If we do it like calling it one at a time, let's see, I'm pretty sure it will call it -4 times 2, and then it'll give me -8, and then it'll be plus, let's say 50, 42. Yeah, we don't want that because it becomes it's no longer a negative number actually, so it'll only work at low levels. So let's get rid of this. Let's grab the calculator. Let's see if the division actually works. So -4 times 2 equals -8, and then -8 will divide by the strength. So if we divide 50, let's say, That's actually really, really crappy. Let's just do -4 times 2 and then times 50 would be -400. Okay, yeah, so we'll just add another times plus a negative. So let's do one more times plus a negative, shall we? So math here. We'll grab this times block like this, and we're gonna times this, our strength. Oops, we're not gonna want to use this plus block anymore, actually, so. So we're gonna times that together, it gives us -8, then we times that, that's gonna be, if it's 50, -400, if it's 100, holy crap, that's gonna be -800. That's, again, if you're hitting criticals. So, okay, yeah, this is good, this is good. So that's happening just fine here. We can now actually minus this, so like, so let's grab a calculator right there. Remember, this math stuff you'll be adjusting several times until you get a decent workflow for your math here. So -4 times 2 equals -8. Let's say times 50. We're going to be hitting -400, but then we want to divide that by 2, so then it'll give us 200. So yeah, let's divide this by 2. So a divided, no, that's int. We want to divide a by b with divide a by b in float values. Okay, wait, hold on. Return the remainder as a float. Okay, well, doesn't really matter. Pop that in there like that. And then we want to divide by 2. Open up our calculator here. This should now make more sense. So if we do -2 times 2, that'll be -4. And then we're going to times 50 divided by 2 equals 100. There we go. And then -4 times 2 equals 8 times 50 divided by 2. There we go. See, that is a nice math scheme right there. It's not making our character too overpowered and not too underpowered. So feel free to use these or work with it as your own. Remember, you always want to make sure that you're returning a negative number and not at any point returning a non-negative number, because if you ever return a non-negative number, you're actually going to heal the monster instead of killing it, which you don't want to do, obviously. So now when we go into the game and test this, everything will be working flawlessly. Let's do another new game here. Okay, that was really, really strange. I just did a new game, yet it loaded me over here. Cool. So yeah, that spawn player block, Leslie still needs to fix. It's only been 1 day. He normally answers within 1 to 2 to 3 days, you know, around there. 1 to 3 days, I would say, is efficient. So let's go ahead and attack our samurai here. If you remember, our strength is 5. If we want to know if we're hitting a critical or a normal attack, we could always add a debug to our skill here. So right here in our on skill hit, we go ahead and add a debug under here and a debug under here, and it'll tell us. So critical hit, hit, and then in this one would be normal hit. Normal hit. So there we go. Now you guys can see your damages and everything. I don't want this video to be too long, so take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and let's hope that Leslie fixes that spawn player block quick things, because it's kind of a nuisance not loading your position when you load the game. Alright, take care, guys.